Thank you, Ms. Seaman. I really appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. No, come on, you're killing me. It's Friday. You guys got a weekend. Say good morning, everyone. Thank you. That's more like it. A little bit of enthusiasm goes a long way. I promise you that. I don't know if you guys had a moment to read the quote up on the screen yet. So I'll tell you a little bit about this quote, and throughout the speech, you'll kind of get to see what I mean with this quote. Truly, when you look at things a little differently, those things will appear a little differently. So, I'm a simple kid. I come from a country called Iraq, which most of you know now and see on the news is strictly war-ravaged, and some bad things are happening over there. But I don't see it that way, because I look before all that. I look at the history of it. Iraq has been one of the most amazing countries in the world. Mind you, this is where the cradle of civilization was. So at one point, we all pretty much come from there. And that is something. This is where writing started. This is where algebra was invented. This is where chemistry was even invented. One of the most amazing places on earth was Baghdad at one point, and that's the capital of Iraq. And this is where people and scholars, the most amazing minds, came to share knowledge. Some of the biggest libraries in the world were there. That obviously changed over time. And not all great things can remain great. So, sadly today, it's in the state that it's in. But I believe one day it will become much better. So I come from this place, right? And I'm a byproduct of war. I'm a refugee. We lived in Saudi Arabia for about 3.5 years in tents, man-made huts, and whatever we could get our hands on to kind of put a shelter over our head. We had makeshift schools and things like that where I kind of learned to read, kind of learned to write. This is me and my father in the refugee camp. I was very fortunate. My whole family came, big family, 4 brothers, 2 sisters. But imagine the hard work this took to just survive there. My brothers would walk for miles just for some water to cook with, to clean with, to bathe with. And they would do this trip 2 or 3 times a day to have enough water for the next day or 2. I was very fortunate I was young, so they helped take care of us. My brothers still complain from their back problems because of this, unfortunately. So that was refugee camp. After 3.5 years, we were very fortunate to come to the United States. And I'll tell you about that story in a little bit. But when I came here, I was about 8 years old, so about 4th grade. And I didn't know a word of English. I don't have friends. I don't know anybody. I don't know anything. Except for I was really freaking excited to start school. Because for the first time, I knew that we didn't have to write on the floor anymore. That I could actually learn something. And best of all, try to make some new friends. This was my first time behind a microphone. And I said 3 words. I'll never forget them. Drugs are bad. It was a dare presentation. And I had written a speech. It was about 3 sentences, but I got so frozen up. And now all I could think about today is how I can give back through speaking. Go figure, right? So, coming to the United States was a very, very difficult process. And one of those things was my father's paintings. I truly can say that art saved my life. My father was an amazing artist. He went around town and picked up, in this refugee camp, and picked up canvases from old torn tents and turned them into canvases and started painting the most beautiful things I had ever seen. Because I was only 5 years old when we left, so I hadn't even seen vegetations or trees. We were in the middle of the desert. And this man starts painting in the darkest of hours beauty. I look back at that today and I find that very, very inspiring. With this art, people like these soldiers that would come in in our tents to make sure that we didn't have weapons and security and all these things, they see his paintings and were just in awe, just like I was. And they started commissioning him to paint these things for them. Luckily, one man led to the next, and my father met the guy that just pretty much ran the refugee camp. An amazing person, extremely kind, said, "You and your family need to get out of here." And he helped us with that process, and we landed in Beaverton, Oregon, about a year later. So for that, I'm thankful. I'm thankful for my father's art. I came to America, right? And now I have to balance who I am, where I come from, learning English, and then being cool at the same time, right? It's very difficult. I know some of you guys go through that every day. But I remained true to who I was. I loved art, man. I walked around with a sketchbook all day. And I took on every opportunity I can get a hold of. Painting walls for the schools, posters, banners. And before I knew it, I was known as the kid in our class that did all these artistic things. I painted shoes, t-shirts, you name it, whatever I can get my hands on. Because it's just what I love to do. No one ever told me that I could get paid for it, so I just did it for free at the time. But then I did something amazing. To make my mother, my father, my brothers that worked so damn hard to go get some water, I made it to college for them and for myself. My father always says, "Don't do it for me, do it for yourself." But I always knew I did it for him. I got to college, and all I ever wanted to be was an architect. All I ever wanted to be was an architect. So to this point, I'm going to stop and go back just a little bit. In 7th grade, I had a teacher, an ESL teacher, who kind of smirked when I said that I wanted to be an architect. He said, "Oh, that's kind of hard, don't you think? You might want to think about something else." I said, "No, I want to be an architect. That's what I'm going to do." But in 8th grade, I had an even more amazing teacher. Her name is Miss Seaman. She stands over there. So, in ESL, are some of you in ESL in here? Some of you, maybe? Just one or two? Go ahead, raise your hand. Don't be shy. It's okay. Even the best English speakers aren't the best English speakers, I promise you that. So, when I was in ESL, that woman said, "Hussein, your English is fairly good, your writing is fairly good. Why are you in ESL?" I have no idea. I just come where they tell me to go. I said, "We're going to get you out of here." And at the time, I didn't think about it. I took the test and I got out of ESL. At the time, I didn't think about it. But now I look back, that woman pushed me more than anything else I've ever had. Why? Because I was being challenged. I could now take regular classes. I can now take classes with my friends and have them help me or me help them. So this point in my life was very crucial. So when I got to high school, I didn't have ESL. Now I can run with the big boys and take on those big challenges. And though it was really hard, and though times I was like, man, I wish I was back in ESL, it was a little bit easier. Those are the days that defined my ability to keep trying. Did I have bad grades in speeches and in writing and reading? Yes. They weren't good, but at least I was being looked at like everybody else. And that's the key, right? Is that though it wasn't good, I didn't care about that. I just wanted to be, amongst everybody else being tested. I didn't want to be like, he doesn't know English, so let's just give him a little bit of a break. No, I didn't want that. I didn't want breaks. I didn't want anybody to give me anything. I wanted to earn what I got. So therefore, when I got to college, I wanted to do just that. I wanted to earn what I got. And it took 2 years and 3 tries. How many of you have tried to do something and it just didn't work out the first time? Pretty much everybody, right? How many of you maybe try to do that, but then on the second time it didn't work out either? Yeah, pretty much all of us. And they say third time's a charm. Luckily for me, third time was my charm. And it took me 3 tries and 2 long years to get into the architecture program because it was so hard. It's not easy. A lot of things you guys do today are not easy for a reason, because if they were easy, you probably wouldn't even do it. It's too easy. How many of you guys have had that? Like, it was so easy, you don't even want to do it. So we love the challenge, right? We want to be challenged so we can break through that barrier. And I'm telling you, the third time, man, that victory was sweet. It was so good. I can still feel it today to get into that program. And out of like about 55, 60 students that actually get into the program, out of the thousands that apply, only about 25, 20 actually graduate with an architecture degree. So it goes to show, not only getting there was difficult, going through it was difficult, right? You guys got to middle school, now you got to get through it. Then you're going to get to high school, and you got to get through that. So you got a long road ahead of you. But with enough perseverance, anything is possible, I promise you that. I got the opportunity to go to India. I never thought in my life, ever, even a month before I went on this trip, I didn't ever think I was going to be in India. But the opportunity came up, and guess what? I was ready. And my professor said, hey, do you want to come on this journey? I said, absolutely, but I ain't got no money. How am I going to do that? He says, don't worry, we'll make it happen. And sure enough, talked to some people, talked to some family members, rounded up some money, and made it happen. Because that's what you do. When you want something, things just open up the doors, and people will help you make it happen. I got to go to Ladakh, India to help build a school in the Himalayas. Who knows where the Himalayas are? Beautiful. Teachers, you're doing your jobs very well, by the way. So, the Himalayas is the most beautiful mountain range in the world. Has the tallest mountain in the world. Mount Everest, I'm sure you've heard of it. That was about 2.5 hours away from this little town. And it was amazing. If you do like a 360, all you see is this beautiful mountain range. And it really captivated my imagination, and it made me appreciate what so many people do and how they connect to this nature, this natural surrounding, and how much appreciation. It was almost mystic. So that made me clear my mind a little bit more, be in tune with my soul and who I was. So when I came back, I was fierce, man. I was ready to work. I graduated college. I got a degree in architecture. Shout out to the teacher who said that I couldn't do it. But definitely, it was the most amazing day of my life. 2010, I just graduated college. I'm like, now what? Right? Now you gotta get a job. So here's the fight all over again. And for a year straight, man, I was trying so hard to just get a job, anything. Architecture, graphic design, anything. And something that I can call a career, I guess you could say. And I wasn't as lucky this time. But in 2005, 2006, I was doing things on the side of college. I was screen printing, I was making graphics for flyers and business cards, and just trying to meet people. And start my own brand of clothing. And I started this little shop in the basement of a barber shop, paying about $250 a month in rent, and I barely made it. And I had more things to think about. But again, it helped me understand the world around me, because I was just trying things, having no fear. Because hell, I was in a refugee camp. What's worse than that? I know I'm never going back to that, so now I have nothing to fear. And that's what you got to understand. You have nothing to fear. Just keep trying. So in 2011, I reverted kind of back to that no fear mentality of like, you know what? No one's going to give me a job. I'm going to make my own job. I'm going to make those guys who didn't give me a job or give me the opportunity go, wow, he built his own door, knocked it, and opened it all at the same time. By door, I mean the opportunity. So I was able to open up a screen printing shop. This is the third one after 2 failed ones. 3 is a very recurring number in my life, as now you can tell. And I'm here now. And I've been relentless. I work days, nights, weekends, summers, you name it. I was in my shop, I was creating, I was working, I was calling people, trying to meet people, go to meetings, conferences, you name it. I was there. So I went from a one-man show, just me doing everything, to, this last summer we hired up to 9 people that was working at this shop. We have automatic machines now, and bigger space and all these things, and it's fantastic, and we work with nonprofits, schools, and I work with Brand Jordan and Nike, who didn't want me to work there at one point. And now they're emailing me to help them with their projects. See how the tables turn when you just persevere and don't give up? And I've been very fortunate. Now here's a picture of me and my father. This time, not in a refugee camp. They say the success of the teacher is measured by the success of the student. My father was definitely my teacher, and my brothers too, and my mom as well, if I haven't mentioned her yet. They were definitely my teachers, and I hope to God that my success is a reflection of them. So here we are, right? 2015. I'm going to take you back to this little guy sitting in a refugee camp. Trust me, he looks no different and is no different than any of you. It's just a little boy, man, stuffing bags into other bags, trying to make a soccer ball to play with my friends. It was no different. So I promise you, with a little bit of passion, a little bit of perseverance, and just mix a little bit of belief in yourself. And I promise you, no matter what's going to happen, everything you want to do will happen. In 1994, I didn't speak a word of English. What am I doing speaking to you? Right? That's what you got to think. Visualize your future. Act on it. Most importantly, be grateful for what you have. So all those kids on TV that you see today that are refugees, and all those people crossing borders and doing all these things, trying to flee these dangerous areas, they have no choice. You have to understand that they're no different than you. So with that being said, be grateful. I really want to say thank you to all the professors and teachers in here, because truly what you sacrifice every day for these kids and people like myself, and what you've done throughout your life is amazing. This isn't about me. This is about the people that sacrifice things for you. So every day, say thank you to them. Every day, make it a habit and smile at them. They say the best form of charity is just a smile. It's a smile. It's not hard. Smile at your professor, smile at your parents, and say thank you for what they provide you with every day. It's important, right? I promise you, the more you give of yourself, the more you get. Ever since I made that mind shift, I can't understand how much it comes in every possible way. So with all that being said, I appreciate your time. I hope you have a fantastic weekend.